recording. All right, we're back. Hey, we're back. It's Sunday. We did, I think, 3 of these in a row now, which is maybe a record of all time. Niches, how to find them. We talked about that. I guess in the meantime, if anyone has questions on how to find niches, I guess we can start there and we can work our way down or up. If not, I can open up the YouTube and we can start there. So yeah, I guess we can start with questions about finding niches. If not, I can get into the screen share. It's up to you guys. I don't know how to find them. All right, that's good. We'll talk about it. Let me open up this. I'll have to open up some other stuff in a little bit. Let me also screen share as well. Screen share my entire screen. All right, can you see this? Can you see my screen? I'm gonna move Discord over here actually while I do this. All right, we can see my screen. Cool. All right, cool. All right, we want to do open up YouTube. First thing you want to do, YouTube. You can use niche finding tools, by the way, as well. If you want to do that, it's a little bit more pricey, and like you're gonna generally find like a lot of competition in like the niche finding tool space because they're inherently on niche finding tools. So there are 2 things that I like quite a bit for finding niches. Maybe like 3 things, but like 2 that are really good. The first thing, actually, we can cover like the 3 ways that I like doing it. Right, the first thing is gonna be medium and modality, which I've talked about in the past. There's a video on it, but I'll kind of go over it like briefly just because it's like a pretty simple concept. So I will do what if maybe. I think this is the channel. Yeah, so there's this channel here called What If, which is like a 3D space channel. Let me go videos. Let me just go popular. It's kind of cool that they sorted this. Yeah, so like what Dying on the Planet would be like. So this is like a 3D type video. So if we open it up here, well, you just take a gander. If my internet wants to work, this is 3D. So like this is like done in 3D. It's like a cool idea. If you want to take it a step further, I just copy the title. The quickest way to find a niche is like, let's say this is crushing in the 3D space, right? You could adapt it via Medium, which is going to be taking the medium of 3D and applying it to 2D, which is exactly what Painting Explainer did. And yeah, Painting Explainer didn't like get a ton of views. They only did like 15. Okay, I guess they got a ton of views. It's 11 million. And Painting Explainer does like more broad topics. But all this is you're applying like concepts that have worked well in like the 3D type space and applying it to a 2D type space. So like it's less so niche focus and more so like content focus, if that makes sense. And then like do you have an advantage in terms of modality? So if you are able to like have like an innate understanding of animation or like stick figure drawings, etc., you can easily apply like basically anything that's like an outlier video to a kind of like 2D formula. Or 3D formula. If like you find like 2D stuff is crushing, you can apply that to 3D. There's a great channel actually that's like I think kind of ripe for this. I'll have to see if I can find it. I might not be able to find it. Let me go scroll up over here because I was actually just messaging someone about it the other day. It's not Fictionary. Yeah. It's this guy. Simple Paint. I think this guy's actually like, pretty good. It's basically this guy's just like a Paint Explainer clone, to be honest. Which is like, you know, everyone does this. But the reason why it's good is you can effectively apply all this to 3D. So if you, I mean, especially if you use like the Dojo 3D editing like course, we're actually, me and Fed are starting a channel, I think literally this week, finally. I've talked about like the last 3 calls. That is like a 3D channel. And it's all like the editor is like all trained on the content from the course. So it's like works really well. But if you just adapt to this channel, like purely toward like 3D animations, like just the same ideas, but like 3D with 3D thumbnails, It's pretty easy. Like it would crush. It would crush so crazy. Just because the medium is fundamentally different. That's number one. So that's not like necessarily finding a new niche, just adapting what's already currently like working in the market and applying it to a different medium. If you have the ability to apply to a different medium. Now you can also do the same thing, which is modality based. So I guess like a great one, like if you wanted like some just free sauce, perhaps. This is like from Tim. You've probably seen him on Twitter. He does. He runs this channel, which is The Art of War, which is a 3D shorts thing. And does he do videos now as well? I think he's like maybe trying to do videos, but yeah, he does like 3D shorts like pretty often. If you were to able like to extrapolate the short form content he's doing to long form, that would easily crush. Also my like outlier tool is not working for the shorts, but essentially if you were able to like figure out like what the outlier shorts are here and how to like go like way farther, you could apply his like basically most performing like popular videos to just long form content. And this is going to be modality arbitrage, where there's probably a gap in the market in terms of long form content. And then you just apply like what's worked here for him in short form, make them longer stories and do it for 3D. Long form, that is, because he's doing short form. So that is modality arbitrage. So medium arbitrage is like changing like the way the information is presented, whether it be like 3D to paint to 2D animation to whatever the fuck, to be honest. And then modality is going to be how it's consumed. So that's going to be short form to long form. It's a pretty easy way to figure out like the difference in niche. So like that's like the first way you can do it, which is medium and modality. Now, the drawback of medium and modality is pretty simple. There's no moat. Like you're never going to have first mover advantage unless like you are the first to that like medium or that modality of like already an existing form of content. It's predicated on the fact that you have to have like some type of like knowledge on like the topics that are being discussed. You don't necessarily need it, but it's like ideal. But like the biggest like drawback is like there's no moat. Like anyone could functionally do this, which is why it's like a way to find niches. Is it the best way to find niches? I probably don't think so. But it's like pretty good for beginners because it's like a very low barrier to entry, which again was why there's no moat. But if there's low barrier to entry, that's not really the end of the world. But that is like a caveat. So like if you're experienced, like you could take advantage of this. If you're new, you could also take advantage of this if you like have like intimate knowledge or something. That's like the first method. The second method is what I did with Couch Co-op. And this is my favorite method just because I have like experience with it and I can just show the 3 channels I have ran in the past with this like this method, which is Couch Co-op here. Which is sentiment analysis. So generally speaking, within the world of YouTube and like just kind of like public consciousness, or I guess you want to like use psychology for this example, like there are going to be, how do I explain this? There are going to be, I'm trying to think here. How do I even like go about even explaining it? Okay. In general, regardless of like the niche or whatever, you are going to have like, let's say an affinity for something. Like for me, it's going to be like, let's say gaming and like watch content and like maybe car content. And then like tertiary or I guess secondary, like probably Counter-Strike and like maybe like investing, are things I know about, right? So you'll have hopefully, some type of affinity for a thing, right? And ideally you have an affinity for a thing that has a large total addressable market. In this case, like gaming is a pretty large total addressable market. From there, there's going to be like what I would like to call sentiment analysis. There's no tool that currently does sentiment analysis very well. It's just kind of like a gut feeling thing. And like, it's something you build up over time. But generally speaking, there's going to be a populace of this like total addressable market, like a subgroup of this total addressable market that has a certain feeling towards something. And that feeling will be voiced on forums, like usually outside of YouTube, but also like in YouTube comment sections, and can be analyzed. So like these forums that are best like present are probably gonna be like Twitter and Reddit, to be honest. Even though I hate both those platforms equally. But you can find these like pockets of sentiment and you can like build a channel around it. This is also like, by the way, like how you find like gaps in the market. So for Couch Co-op, like the general premise of Couch Co-op, and I've talked about it a few times, is that within the video essay market, there were tons of video essays on video games like that. Like that's not new. It's like not a new niche. But there was two specific things that like stood out as like to why I think like, this was like probably like a pretty good play, and like views are doing well now. We brought it back from the dead, and the two specific things that I noted is that there were no video game essayists at the time speaking purely about FPS games. There was the Act-Man who would would talk about it more often than he would not talk about it, but I wouldn't classify him as a FPS video game essayist. Yes, he did made FPS video games, but like essays on FPS video games, but it wasn't his whole thing. Not inviting anyone to stage. You can just type in chat. It takes too long. So that was like the first thing. So there's a gap in the market in the sense that like no one was serving this market, even though individually, anytime he did video essays on FPS games, they did the most amount of views. Like we can go back historically, like FPS game, FPS game, FPS game, FPS game, FPS game, FPS game, for the most part. And then when like we branched out, like sometimes it worked and sometimes it did not work. It got cooked. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is like there's a gap in the market in that aspect. And then the other thing is like there's a popular sentiment, or like at least like an observed sentiment, from the fact that when talking about video game essays, like in the broad context, like they all do like pretty well. But in specific FPS video games, for like certain creators would like do abnormally well. And if you look at the comments, most of the comments like were like pretty positive toward like the video essay itself. But like you could like go a little bit deeper, and it's like not really positive about like the video game essay that they just watched, but they also had like a desire for more. They would ask these creators, hey, I want more of this. I want more of this thing. Thank you for talking about this thing. Can you talk about this thing next? And you can build out like a pretty interesting profile in the sense that you can like look at all these comments, and there's like tools to analyze these comments, but there's also like a silent sentiment. So like there's going to be like a vocal minority, generally speaking, that are like asking for these things. And generally speaking, like good rule of thumb is vocal minorities are not representative of silent majorities. Like silent majorities are the ones who are watching the videos, not commenting the videos. But in this case, like if you can cross-reference like this data point a few times, and which is what we did here for Couch Co-op, is like I saw the Act-Man was like doing really well. I know like the Relo guy, Relo, has like had like some like success as well in like extraction shooters and like I'm trying to think of the other thing. What's like extraction shooters? Battle royales. Which are like FPS adjacent, and like the comment sections were also like talking like specifically about that. And I know like for a fact like Reykjavik, who just uploaded today actually, has also had like his most viewed video game essay videos are all about FPS games, and the comments are all like asking like for more video essays on FPS games. Okay, objectively, like this is an FPS game, FPS game, FPS game, FPS game, kind of an FPS game. Somewhat FPS games and then racing games. So we decided to like build the channel on the premise like we'll just do video game essays on FPS games, and eventually we branched out because like it was just a smart thing to do. But like that's the other way of finding niches, is like finding like pockets of sentiment that are untapped and underserved, but there's like a market, like a very like hungry market for it. This is my favorite way of doing it, but it's like pretty difficult to do for beginners. It's pretty difficult to do in general because you have to be like pretty autistic, to be honest, in order to like find these like specific like gaps in the market where like you can enter like what is like assumedly a crowded market on like the front end, but like in reality it's not super crowded because you can like find like outliers in the market that is like already crowded that generally have like a prevailing sentiment. So I mean I can just like leak some like sauce right here actually. This is something I'm gonna be doing. You can go like copy it. I don't know if it'll like work, but go for it. There is like these channels, I'm sure you've seen them, which is like these guys are like talking about how to like get rich slow. It's all over like Minecraft gameplay and like Call of Duty gameplay. Like generally speaking, it's going to be like Black Ops 2, and MW2. No MW3, which is quite peculiar. Which is like nostalgia. Basically, it's like nostalgia baiting, but like they're all like fundamentally talking about the same concepts. There's a few guys that talk about like life advice, like dating, etc. And like, but most of it is like how to retire early, which I think is like kind of dumb. But I do think there's like a gap in the market here for like two like specific things. One specific thing I think is like more actionable advice on how to make money, because like I've watched a lot of these guys and it's like I'm investing money into this. I started my side hustle, but they don't like occasionally they'll break down the side hustle. But it's not like super achievable where it's like if I look up, for example, like let's say 10 side hustles for teens. These it did better eventually. Yeah, like this like did like actually like fairly well. Of course, like these stats are all fucking wrong. Because why not? Seven side hustles like students can start. Like I know for a fact like this is like one of his best performing videos of all time. Maybe actually his best performing video of all time. Like this type of content, which is like a little bit more actionable and like let's say listicle adjacent, like over a like Call of Duty like gameplay, and it's like framed in like this kind of like authentic format, like nostalgia baiting as well, would do pretty well. Is my general assumption. That's like kind of like number one, where it's like again, if I go back here, all like the best content is generally like how to make money rather than like how much money they already have, which a lot of the content that's like investing adjacent, like specifically talks about like how much money they already have, which is like generally not like super achievable. The other thing that like does really well for these guys outside of like specifically like how to make more money and how to improve your life is like general life advice and like tips. So for example, like I mean I can just go through here between like what I learned, like how to show your life in your 20s full step-by-step guide, which is like kind of like an interesting angle, but it is like kind of like a negative framing. And then like Gen Z is getting priced out of their own country. That's like a negative framing on like housing affordability. Gen Z will change politics forever. This is a negative framing toward politics and like the like kind of like status quo. This is like also like pretty like adjacent to this video. Like why life feels like so much harder now. Like all these videos like are all like in like kind of like one space, which is like kind of interesting that they all like perform like very well, even though like they're a little bit different. But like a more like life advice focused piece of content outside of like just how to make more money. So I think like these two are like pretty like big gaps in the market. In an already like somewhat crowded market. Like there's not a lot of like, in my opinion, like space in the market for a bunch of channels like this. And I would know because like all these guys have inspired their audiences to make channels like this. The issue is like most of the guys that are making channels exactly like this that like they were inspired to make have nothing of interest or substance to say. So like the market is like really interesting. Like on the top end, there's like maybe like 8 to 10 guys that are really interesting on the top end. And then like on the bottom end, there's like 100 guys that would like to be these guys. And because I'm like not dumb, I think there's like a pretty interesting like space here, like where you could like either talk purely about like politics and like the like societal collapse, if you will, and like you know like always like kind of negative framing, or more actionable advice on how to make money and like teaching people how to make money rather than like you should just invest, which is a lot of like the current advice. So like again, like this can be like sentiment analysis outside of like an already like saturated niche, which is like kind of what Couch Co-op was based off of. Again, this is a little bit more complicated and like requires you to have like a pretty like autistic understanding of like YouTube and like figuring out like what specific angles work within a given niche. So like you're not necessarily finding a new niche, you're already finding a niche that works well, but unlike modality and medium, you're not like adapting something. You're trying to find a new angle or a consistent angle that you can like own that vertical. Like the early exit plan guy is like actually like fumbling like pretty aggressively right now, in my opinion. And the reason why I say that is if I go to his channel, like all of his like best performing videos of all time, if I just sort by like give me by views, are all like these negative angles toward like Gen Z as like a position in society. So it's like massive like tailored for market. But like the content that I think he likes making the most, from my understanding, is like how to retire early content, how to move to Thailand on like $10 a month content. Just like from like my kind of like watching it, which is like the content like he likes making the most. And like I think he's even like said this in one of his videos, but it doesn't get him the most amount of views. So it's like the only thing I care about is like views and money. Like I'm not like too like interested in like talking about like investing advice. So it's like doing like that specific like Gen Z like style angling with like negative formats and like having that be your exclusive like this the exclusive vertical that you dominate would be kind of interesting. Because like there's clearly like a massive audience for it, potentially. And then the other angle is like more actionable advice on how to make money. Because again, most of these guys are like how I invest my $230,000, how to escape the 9 to 5, how I made 1,000 online, and it's like just super like not tangible advice for like the audience because like the audience like is basically like brain dead. So it's like not as digestible as like a Mark Tilbury video, which is like, you got to do this, man. You got to do this, like, which is like way more tangible. Same thing with like Iman Ghazi, like way more tangible and like easy to digest for beginners to actually like start and take action. Like this is like not really the case because like if you already have $230,000, it's like all you're doing is inspiring someone to like start investing money rather than like teaching them how to make money to invest, which I think is like a nuance there that you have to understand. So yeah, like that's like another way to find it. But this requires you to be on YouTube like pretty aggressively and like find things that like you are somewhat passionate about. You don't have to be like super passionate about it. But like passionate enough to like find these gaps and like understand like, okay, here's like the like sentiment in the market / like analysis. That would be like the second way. The third way is my favorite way. I've seen that. I think I've said that twice now. I actually like prefer like this way that I'm describing because it's like, for me, it's like It is also. Yeah, but it also just doesn't matter. Like, if you're passionate, it's easier to make ideas, but like, it's not necessarily like easier to make ideas. It's like if you're passionate, you have an inherent advantage. Which is like how you need to be looking at it. Like, I'm passionate about a lot of things, but I just don't like really give a fuck. Like, but like if I were to do like content in like those verticals, it'd be very easy because it's like not only do I know what like they want, I also like can go more in depth on the topics than like some guy LARPing. Like, I would not do very well with the World War II channel because like I just didn't get World War II autism. But like if you want like social engineering and like shit like that, like I could probably do like a pretty good channel on that. Or like esoteric things, I could probably do like a decent channel on that. But yeah, that is the second way. And like I prefer this method just because like it is a great like display over like mastery of YouTube and mastery of psychology, but it's like not a fucking great method to get into. Just because it's like this is like pretty advanced. Because like you have to understand like thought patterns of the viewers and like figuring out like where the gaps are, which is like a little bit harder. The third method, which is another method I like, which is like arguably, by the way, like the best method for all beginners fucking everywhere. The first method is like really good for beginners, but like you don't have a moat. And then like in addition to that, you also like, it's really good for advanced people because like they usually have the capital to like fund these channels. This method is like great for people who are like super autistic and on YouTube all the time. Less good if you don't want to do that, which is understandable. But this method is something I'm a big fan of. Bring it up. Where is it? R60. I can bring up R60. So this is what I call like a niche transference or like style transference, which like used to be popular, and then everyone was like, dude, just make a branded channel, but no one fucking knows what a branded channel is, which is retarded. That's like pretty retarded, admittedly. So this is my channel R6 Central. This is a compilation channel, kind of, but not really a compilation channel. It's basically short pseudo, like I would call them like mini video essays on topics. They're super evergreen. I think this channel's like made like 20K so far, and I just like gave up on it because like I fucking hated making these this content, and also like the team just kind of fell apart. Which is what it is. But all I'm doing here is I'm taking like super popular formats that like I know like psychographically this audience will like, because like a similar audience from like a psychographic standpoint or like a psychological standpoint likes as well. So like if I look at like R6, like Rainbow Six, okay, Rainbow Six is like somewhat similar to like what game? Like probably like League of Legends. I'll just bring this up because like what inspired this channel was like two things. The first thing that inspired this channel was, if I go to like oldest, actually like I mean it just straight up was this channel right here, Silver Scrapes. So this is, I've talked about this before, but this channel right here is Fed's channel. Or was Fed's channel? He might have sold it. I actually can't remember. But if I go like oldest year, like his first video was 9 times Faker impressed the world. So I'm like, okay, who is the Faker of Rainbow Six Siege? Okay, Spoit. 9 times Spoit proved he's the GOAT of Rainbow Six Siege. Because like he's like a lot of hype, a lot of people watch him. He has his own YouTube channel. So we made this video and did 400,000 views. Then we did like the many victims of Jinxie. So that was inspired not by Fed, but it was inspired by Ryan Pictures. Maybe it was inspired by Ryan Pictures. I can't remember if it was exactly Ryan Pictures or it was the other guy that makes like slop content, Internet Anarchist. Popular. Any day now. There we go. Let's just call it like this channel or Internet Anarchist. It was one or the other, to be honest. Like it doesn't matter. They all make like the same like pretty like mediocre dog shit slop. But it gets views, which is like the main like principle here. It's like, why does this get views? Okay, it gets views because like it's inherently interesting to a large group of people. It's inherently interesting because like there's internal conflict between like the parties, potentially, depending on like the content. It's inherently interesting because it's like a proven format. It's inherently interesting because like you're hate watching kind of. So like use all these things that are like inherently interesting about this, like, and you can break that down and you can synthesize that into your own formula. So I was like, okay, like from a psychographic standpoint, who is like the big bad villain of Siege, or like who's like the most popular figure in Siege? And that was Jinxie at the time. So Jinxie, if you guys don't know, is like a massively popular streamer, one of the biggest streamers actually in the world. And he came up on Rainbow Six Siege, and he like kind of revived the Rainbow Six Siege like interest, if you will. So because he revived the interest, we're like, okay, what if we like position him as like the villain? Or even if we don't position him as the villain, like what if we like position him as like, you know, like the guy that has all these victims? Like what are those victims? Like people he like beat in 1v1s, people who like he regretted making like talking trash, etc. Then from there, like I was like, okay, like this content like does really well, and this content like does really well. And we also like, so like there's like 2 videos we posted like after this video that are like similar to the Spoit video in terms of format. And they just did so bad, we just privated them because it was just like fucking like, dude, like 1,000 views after getting 400,000 almost. And we're like, fuck that. So what we did here is like we just like made more like kind of like slop content. It's like what I call it. It's what it is. So we have like the 7 sinful versus like 7 heavenly virtues as streamers, and I saw this shit and I'm like, hey, I mean, or like the 7 heavenly virtues as YouTubers. I'm like, why don't we just do that for a much smaller niche? Like content creators and like YouTubers is like just way larger than like this niche, but we just did it here. Then we kept doing it. We also sprinkled in like some other stuff, like the update that almost killed Rainbow Six Siege every time something lost a 1v1, which actually, like, looking back on it, like, this is actually fucking crazy that we got this many views on some of these videos, because like these videos are like not very good. The editing is kind of fire though. The Jinxie Icebreak explained, again, like pandering to the Jinxie audience, because we know he's like a very large like total addressable market potentially at the time. Still arguably like does. 7 creators who disappeared forever, like we know that, like we just like knew this was like a specific banger at that time. 6 R6 creators who killed their careers forever. I saw this like posted by someone else that I knew like was doing really well. 7 like most broken operator like in Siege history. So like I just knew like the number 7. I don't know, make 6-7 joke if you want. Like we're doing really well, so like fuck it, let's run this one up. I saw this in a Call of Duty channel, so I'm like, let's just run this up because like it's very similar to R, like it's actually like, super similar to R6. Then we just kept like doing this over and over again, and then yeah, we did this one. So like this was inspired from a client I have in Roblox. Yep, thanks for the 6-7 meme. Great. So I did this like, literally this exact video for a Roblox client. I think it was like 42 things that are gone from Blox Fruits Forever, and it did like 4 million views. And I'm like, oh fuck it, let's just do it here. And we did that way. Oh, we also did a drama video. I think we did 2 drama videos. Yeah, we did this video because like it was like super relevant. And, like this guy's like one of the biggest guys in the scene. Then we did it again. Got a cool 223,000 views. And this is all, by the way, like this drama, like we talked about the drama for like 3 minutes, and then we like the other 13 minutes in this video is just like us speculating about why the drama is as big as it is and what's next for the drama. There was no next thing for the drama. Low-key like kind of slanderous, but like I don't know, it is what it is. So yeah, like this is just like literally a style transference or like niche transference, which is like fine with working in a niche based on like psychographic profile, and then just apply it to your niche. Then there's the double down method. So you hear like the term like flooding the niche. I think flooding the niche is like dumb and fucking stupid. But there is like some like sentiment like to be had there. I think it's like useful. Like there's a big enough piece of the pie. Like why not have first mover advantage and then also have like spots like 2 through 5? Like why don't you just run the niche, right? So we did that here with Spawn Peaks. So Rainbow Six Siege was like these studio video essays on like trending topics and trending formats that worked really, really well. And we knew they were going to work really, really well. Then we go here to Spawn Peak. So Spawn Peak, we wanted to do like video essays purely on individuals because like I knew video essays on individual people would potentially do really well. So we moved, like you saw that Sploit video, which is like, you know, that like did like decent. So we're like, okay, why don't we apply the same thing here, but like we talk like purely about individuals. So we did like the tragic downfall of Siege's biggest YouTuber, which is again like I don't know, it's like pulled from like one of these like slop guys that like will like talk about individuals, and if the individual is big enough, it makes a ton of sense. Yeah, like remember Quibblecop, his career's over now. Why no one respects Pack God anymore? So like we're talking about like individuals in this case. The only issue is like unfortunately like there just isn't like at the like I still think like, arguably like there's just not a big enough market to support like this specific style of content. Like for this market, like the biggest video we have is 175k views, and I think that's just gonna be the biggest video in general. Like I pulled the plug like shortly after because I was like, I just don't think it's gonna make sense. But yeah, we did the tragic downfall of Siege's biggest YouTuber caught cheating, which is like, it was like a true story. The full story of stomping Siege's #1 controller player. This like popped off for us. This did okay. This flopped even though like we thought it would be really good. This low key could be like a banger if we retitle it, which is like the Siege player who threw away his career for like to be racist. Because like it's true, he was just racist. Then there's the tragic story of Kickstarter, who's like one of like the most loved people in the community who tragically passed away. So we made a video on that. Then we did another follow-up video, which is why the biggest YouTuber disappeared forever. Then we did like another Sploit video, and then I was like, okay, like at this point, this Sploit video did 11k views, and the other one on the other channel did 400k. There's just like not enough, like the market is not big enough to support this like style of content. I also like the reason why we split out the content, by the way, is like pretty straightforward. Is when you're doing a channel, there's like kind of like I'll bring up like the mirror board real fast. Breaking out the motherfucking mirror boards. That's how you know this can be like kind of like a decent like decent lesson for today. I decided into the mirror board. Fuck. Yo, everyone, look away. Look away. Everyone, close your eyes. I trust you guys all to close your eyes when I log in. I'm putting it on the monitor. We logged into the mirror board. Mirror board. Logged in. Enterprise Insights. I don't think I need Enterprise Insights. Give me a blank board. Give me a blank board. All right. Bum, bum, bum. Oh my god, I got a fucking 400 pop-ups. What's going on here, bro? This is worse than Pornhub. The fuck? There we go. All right, cool. All right, so we've got like channel 1, and we've got like, let's call it like channel 2, right? And then shout out channel 5, Andrew Callahan. All right, so we got channel 1, we got channel 2. In channel 1, we're uploading like bucket 1, bucket 2, bucket 3, right? We've got these 3 buckets, okay? Now these 3 buckets are all pretty similar, right? These are all, this is so scuffed. They're like, these are all similar, right? But like bucket 4, which like you think has potential, is not very similar. And the nice thing about like buckets 1, buckets 2, buckets like, and like, oh, this is bucket 3, is like they all have like the same audience, right? There's gonna be a lot of audience overlap. Bucket 4, like there might not be like audience overlap, or like very minimal audience overlap. So it's like you've got like this audience overlap here. So then if you upload bucket 4, what ends up happening is like bucket 4 gets like less views, right? And like this negatively affects your next videos in bucket wait, bucket 4. Just do like P4. Like this gets like less views, and like this negatively affects buckets 1, 2, 3, right? Because like these are all like share like a similar audience. Bucket 4 doesn't, but bucket 4 is still like within the same niche, kind of. So what you want to do is like, it makes sense actually, like just to spin bucket 4 off into like its own channel. We have like channel 2. So in this case, like we're doing like drama, we're doing like the mini video essays, like the evergreen content that like just kind of crushes. And then like we do bucket 4, which is like purely stories on players. Cause I know channels in like League of Legends, for example, or Counter-Strike, stories purely on players work really well, especially like in chess as well, and poker. So supremely well in poker, actually. So like I know that like there is a potential for doing like a video essay channel purely on individuals. So we spun that off in channel 2. Like this is still the same niche, or actually it's like the same audience, but like the same, I really dislike the term niche. It's like the same niche, but like it's really the same audience. So we need to know. So what we did here is like we spun bucket 2, we spun a second channel out called Spawn Peaked purely for this bucket. And the other reason why is like pretty simple as well. It's like on YouTube, there's like compound, like YouTube is like is really kind of like a function of like momentum to like a degree. There's like a lot of like other like nuanced stuff we can talk about, but generally if you have like these 3 buckets, what ends up happening is that if you post the same content that appeals to this market, which is a pretty big market, let's say this market is like 2 million and this market is only like 200K, right? If I post these 3 things, like over time, this is the graph, right? Because it's like it's one audience, but this is a secondary audience. So if I were to like post like purely like both like this combined, what ends up happening is like I end up like building like audience like 1, like the first audience, like, and then I build actually like a second audience, which is like much smaller. So like you end up splitting off your channel into like 2 separate like audiences on one channel, which is really bad because you do not get this growth, which is what we want. You get like mediocre growth and like bad growth, and like that bad growth like negatively impacts the rest of your content because you get less impressions, because YouTube like really likes momentum, and they also really like people staying on the platform. But if you serve your audience something they don't give a fuck about, or like the majority of the audience something they don't give a fuck about, which in this case is going to be player essays, because we've tried it initially on Rainbow Six Central, and then we switched it off to Spawn because I was like so convicted in the idea it's a good idea to have, but it just didn't make sense on Rainbow Six Central because it was like different audiences. So yeah, we did that, and then we made this channel, which is the second way. There's like a fourth way, I guess we come up with a channel, which is like you just have like multiple channels in the same niche serving different audiences. So yeah, that's what we ended up doing. And then there's the fourth way to come up with channels, which I don't know if I have any that I'm allowed to say or show off. But the fourth way to come up with channels is just come up with a brand new channel. Kind of. How do I even like describe this? How do I even like explain this? I guess it like comes down to sentiment analysis again, but it's really like just kind of like finding gaps in the market, but like not like in like you're basically creating a market, if that makes sense. So like, for example, is there like any channel that I can like really demonstrate this with? Yes. Yeah. There is a channel I can demonstrate this with. if I do Ahoy, nah, it's not Ahoy. It's not the one I was thinking of. I'm thinking of Arch. Yeah, is this really creating its own market here? I'm not too sure. I didn't think like for a minute, like, are there any like good channels that like create their own market? I'm trying to think. That are like really applicable. This would be like way better if like I had already started the channel that I wanted to start, and it's like it's its own market. It did its thing. But I'm just trying to think here. I guess we could do Nikos, maybe. And this is the guy I'm thinking of. No, it's not the guy I'm thinking of. Uh-oh. We might be cooked, boys. We might be cooked. I guess you know what we can do? Actually, this will be like really easy. Just do YLearn. That'll be easy. Give me 1 minute. I'm back. Yeah, so this is YLearn. This is. Let me go click here. So he's like kind of one of the channels I showed you earlier. But what's interesting here is like he created his own niche by doing like these commentary videos, like talking specifically about finance over old Call of Duty gameplay, which is like objectively kind of cool. Maybe like didn't create his own niche. It's like technically a revival of a niche, but I don't think that's really the point. It's like basically finding like a market that doesn't exist and then providing content for the market. So like that's usually gonna be through sentiment analysis and also like lived experiences. But there's also like interesting ones. Like I guess I can like kind of talk about like a channel which I think would be like really interesting, but it's not necessarily like creating its own market. I don't know if I want to give that away because I think I'm gonna do that. I'm trying to think. I guess like a good example would be like looks maxing channels, which is like really kind of like derivative of teaching men's fashion, to be honest. But like if you were to start a looks maxing channel like right now, like there probably isn't like much of a market for it at the moment. There's probably like a good market, but the majority of like that market lives outside of YouTube. It lives on Instagram in this case. So we talked about like sentiment analysis for like Reddit and Twitter, but like in this case, it's gonna live on Instagram, and you can like create that market on YouTube. This is like the most kind of complicated way because it's like it's a little bit of sentiment analysis, but it's also like high level of speculation, in the sense of like what is going to be popular. If that makes sense. Those are like the main ways to come up with channels. So, for example, if I had a World War II paint explainer channel, I should double down and make another W2 channel, but say it's like essays. Yes, exactly. You could easily do that. Like that would be like functionally like a pretty good idea. Let me go put the Discord back over here because you guys are asking questions. That's fine. Just type it in chat. You guys have me for another 20 minutes, maybe like another like 10 to 15 actually. So I actually might have to like go do something here. Gotta move my car. We might also do another lesson next week, by the way, instead of just a Q&A, because The next lesson is how to double down on outliers, and like it's interesting because like I have like some pretty unique insight onto that. I have a channel that I'm doing that I'm like working with someone on, and it's like it's purely just doubling down on outliers. It's the only thing we do on that channel. I can just be like a full case study on that, like explaining exactly like why I do what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. We'll do that for next week. I'm eagerly waiting Chip's question. The poor people that are watching this recording back are just gonna have to see the 6-7 gif in the chat the entire time. I'm gonna have to explain to Fed what the fuck that's about. Let me go end my screen share. Fixing the question keeps getting okay. If that's getting restricted, let me go move my car real fast. It's gonna take me 2 minutes. But if anyone else has any questions, write your questions down, and then I'll be back after I move my car. I've returned. I've moved my car. Oh, can you guys hear me? Because I don't see the little green dot going. No little green dot. What did I just do with my car key? Oh, it's in my pocket. All right, building the ideas started last week. I've already put. I want to ask a quick question about the video style. Last week you showed like Flash channel at key. It's the slower image-based format, but you. Video sounds. That's Masal. Oh, you could do that. That's interesting. Alistar's a great poll. I made a tweet about that thumbnail style. I actually used it for a client. Did pretty well. Yeah, you could do that. It would be interesting. It would disrupt the niche a little bit. I don't know. I think try it for a few videos, but if not, go back to like the more slower style and like the more OG thumbnails. Or if it doesn't work out of the gate before you make like a complete shift in terms of like content style, just change the thumbnails. It's cheaper and faster to change the thumbnails than it is like shift editing. In my opinion, what separates a 1 million view video from let's say a 100,000 view video with YT, for me, I think it's presence of mind and popular format always result in 500K. It's generally like going to be total addressable market. Like, I mean, I'll just use like my own channel, for example. Like the videos that always have like the most views are like, it's like generally like presence of mind plays a fact in it. Presence of mind is like dictated by like how big the market is in the first place. So like all the videos that have the most amount of views, like generally are videos that have the largest total addressable markets that also so happen to align with presence of mind. I have a video coming out eventually on the Vexian channel, the Vexian strategy channel. We're back. Looms will come back eventually. It just depends if I am fucking dying. Which seems to be the case where I'm just constantly dying, so who knows. But I have a video like breaking down how I made a 25 million view video. Yeah, you can rewatch it, Eamon. If not, like in a future one when you're like not moving around, ask questions pertinent to it, and I can get to them when there's like either like a Q&A week or like if there's time after the call. Yeah, you need the total addressable market to get the views. Almost always is like the key factor. Actually, I'll argue like the idea matters like a fuck ton, but like the idea doesn't really matter if like only 100,000 people are interested in the first place. J Wisdom. Let's go check J Wisdom out. Oh, this could work. Probably higher production quality cost. I mean, I would try for the cheaper style first, just to see if you can get away with a lower cost production. But that's like just cost cutting. If you have the capital to spend, it doesn't really matter. Does not very matter. I'm so excited for this upcoming week. I'm getting sick again. I'm just like, dude, I'm looking forward to it. I love cold weather so much. It's my favorite. It's my favorite weather. Also, like, I'll throw this channel out here. I'm just gonna like screen share again because I think it's like low-key a fucking mega banger. This guy right here, like, I think if you did this specific channel, by the way, for like literally anything, you're gonna get a fucking ton of views. I screenshotted this guy when he had only 3 videos. I should have screenshotted when I watched the first video. But his first ever video did 1.2 million views. And like, oh my God, like, dude, this is the extent of the editing, bro. This is the whole editing, bro. It's just like fucking, it's just clips and then him talking with like a high quality stick figure. Like, dude, that stick figure could just be done in Miro. It might even be done in Miro for all I know. But yeah, it's just one of those things which is like, fucking Christ, bro. Fucking Christ. It's just like, look at the time. It's just so free. It's just commentary, bro. It's just commentary and minimal editing, man. And like memes, and then just like B-roll of bullshit. Like, fuck. Do this for anything, bro. Call it drawn out F1, drawn out whatever, bro. drawn out manga. I don't know, drawn out anything. F1, drawn out movies, drawn out manga. Like you could do fucking anything, bro. Drawn out manga would bang. She would go hard. Drawn out. So you probably could do drawn out psychology. Drawn out drama. Like, bro, oh my god, it's so fucking free. Oh, awesome, yeah. All right, I'll give you guys an extra like 2 to 3 minutes to send questions. If not, we're gonna end the recording and we're gonna go to next week. Yeah, this is just so free, bro. It's just so I saw this shit and I'm like, holy fuck, bro. Also, I'm not, dude. This is not a good niche, but I saw this, which is like it's just a guy that uploaded 1 hour of silence broken up by smoke alarm beep. 1 million views. The 10 million, the 10-hour one did like fucking 5 million views. Like, bro, really, bro? Are we dead ass, bro? Like, really, bro? I know what's up in chat. We're closing the questions down. And we're stopping the recording.